Tonight, new direction. The Blueberry River Elders Group wins a decision in federal court. Measles exposure. Staff and patients exposed to the virus at the Fort St. John Hospital. And backing down. The province steps back from its zero-emission vehicle target. Well, good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with a judge's decision in the suit against the Band Council of the Blueberry River First Nations. Council was taken to court over concerns about the governance of the nation and a lack of transparency. And as Noah Abel reports, the elders are ecstatic about the ruling, saying it means a new direction for the First Nation.
The federal court in Ottawa has issued a decision about the ongoing conflict within the Blueberry River First Nations. The Absassin family and elders group took 4 councillors to court back in July. 2 of the elders, Clarence and Joseph Absassin, claim Wayne Yahe, Shelley Gauthier, Troy Wolfe, and Sherry Dominic broke the nation's own laws. The judge ruled the councillors repeatedly made important decisions behind closed doors without consulting family groups or members. The court also found council members held meetings without following bylaws. During cross-examination, when asked, Councillor Gauthier also didn't provide proper meetings records. The court also issuing formal declarations forcing council to follow its own governance rules going forward. The judge ordered council must meet regularly as a whole and consult family groups and elders for major decisions. A separate case over the removal of Chief Judy Desjardins is still before the court. Elders say they're ecstatic about the decision and for what's expected to be a new direction for the First Nation. They're expected to release a statement Wednesday, but for now, they're putting the council on notice, saying there will be a by-election held as soon as possible. Noah Abel, CJDC-TV News, Dawson Creek.
Well, another possible measles exposure in the Peace region to tell you about tonight. The BC Centre for Disease Control saying it happened twice at the emergency department at the Fort St. John Hospital. The first instance was on November the 4th from midnight to 1 a.m. The second occurred on November 5th from 7:10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Health officials say measles is one of the most highly contagious diseases. The virus spreads through close personal contact with an infected person and through the air when an infected person either coughs or sneezes. It can be spread by droplets that stay in the air for several hours. More than 67,000 healthcare workers in British Columbia have reached a deal with their employers. The bargaining association representing healthcare workers in hospitals and long-term care facilities say it has reached a new 4-year deal. Employees will receive a 3% general wage increase in each of the 4 years. The group says the new agreement also includes increases for some shift premiums, leaves, and allowances. It will also expand occupational safety measures. The lead negotiator says the tentative deal secures wage improvements to better attract, retain, and support frontline healthcare workers in British Columbia. An online ratification vote will be held for union members between December 15th and the 19th. The province is stepping back from its target, requiring all new vehicles sold in British Columbia to be zero emissions by the year 2035. BC's Energy Minister says the province will reduce the electric vehicle sales target. Adrian Dix adds the 100% mandate, along with the 90% mandate goal for 2030, are no longer realistic. The NDP government will now introduce legislation next year to revise the goals downward. Dix says the new targets are not yet set because of a review of Clean BC. That's the provincial climate plan that's still underway. Dix adds the BC government is waiting until Ottawa completes its own review, adding that the provincial and federal targets should be the same. And in an effort to improve public safety, the province is conducting a BC-wide test of its emergency alert system. Well, that's the familiar sound British Columbians will hear Wednesday at 2:55 in the afternoon. It'll be broadcast on smartphones, TVs, and radios. The system has been used in the past for earthquakes, wildfires, and Amber Alerts. The message will be clearly labeled as a test alert, trying not to alarm British Columbians. Oh, there are new and upgraded charges against a Kelowna man accused of killing his estranged wife in a parking lot last summer. Jamie Plover is now facing a first-degree murder charge in the death of Bailey McCourt. The 32-year-old mother of 2 was killed in broad daylight back on July 4th. Plover was initially charged with second-degree murder. But now, new evidence submitted to police led to an upgrade to first degree, according to the BC Prosecution Service. McCourt's family says they are relieved, but are also questioning why it took so long. Plover is now also facing a new charge of dangerous operation of a motor vehicle causing bodily harm involving a second victim in the case. He's due back in court next Tuesday. One day after the federal budget was passed by a narrow margin, avoiding a Christmas election, the opposition is making something very clear. Don't expect smooth sailing ahead. Mike Couture has a look now at what happened in the House of Commons today.
I declare the motion carried on division.
Another day, another confidence vote that the Liberals survive.
No, it was going to be one a day for a long time.
Behind the sarcasm is some truth about votes to come. Yesterday's budget vote only passed because a number of opposition MPs abstained.
We hope that opposition parties will continue to dialogue constructively with us about how we can potentially make those things better, but mostly so that we can make Parliament work.
But the Bloc Québécois is promising a rough ride.
So they will live the same anxiety that we have seen this morning, because at each step of this long process, including the committee, they will have to start all over again because they were not good partners for anybody.
Some opposition MPs said they reluctantly voted to pass the budget instead of plunging the country into a Christmas election.
Maybe 6-1, half a dozen the other, but the country's got to change direction.
There will be other confidence votes as the budget works its way through the implementation process. And one NDP MP who abstained yesterday says his support isn't guaranteed.
Absolutely confident that I'll be holding this government to account, and we'll be fighting hard for everyday people.
And the Prime Minister says his budget is for those same people who need social programs like childcare, dental care, and pharmacare.
I salute the 170 members of the House who supported it. I'm glad it came through, and we're going to continue to work on implementing it.
The Prime Minister now heads to the UAE and the G20. And because of how close last night's vote was, it's unlikely the Liberals will test the confidence of the House until Mark Carney returns next week. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Well, Canada, the United States, and Finland all signed a joint agreement of a statement of intent in Washington today concerning the Arctic. The American Homeland Security Secretary says it'll help protect the region from enemies and strengthen a commitment to allies there.
Thank you for coming to memorialize this significant event, not just for the United States of America, but for our great countries, Canada and Finland, and the relationship that we're going to continue to build.
Secretary Noem was joined by Canada's ambassador to the U.S. and Finland's Minister of Economic Affairs. By signing the statement, they took the next step in building new icebreakers. The collaborative effort known as the Ice Pact was initiated during the Biden administration. Ottawa says the agreement will enhance collective capabilities to produce ice-breaking vessels needed to assert our polar and Arctic sovereignty. It appears job prospects across the country are not just frustrating young Canadians, but also highly skilled and educated immigrants. Some are leaving this country out of frustration within 5 years of landing. The fear, the loss of talent will hurt Canada's economy at a crucial point in time. Judy Trin reports.
I'm a Canadian citizen, so it's just like it doesn't matter sometimes.
Ankit Mishra immigrated from India. He has a master's degree in international economics and expertise in AI. He speaks French, yet he keeps getting turned down for jobs in Canada. So he's looking overseas, and he's not alone.
Canada's most capable immigrants are, in fact, most likely to leave.
A new study by the Institute for Canadian Citizenship analyzes 40 years of immigration data and found that 1 out of 5 permanent residents leave Canada within 25 years. The most capable, those with master's degrees or PhDs, leave at twice the rate of someone with a bachelor's degree. They're more likely to move on faster.
The 5-year departure rate for immigrant healthcare workers is 36%. That's the same for scientists. The 5-year departure rate for experienced executives is 193% above average.
Human resource professionals say the government is good at recruiting immigrants, but needs to develop a policy to retain them, which includes recognizing their foreign work credentials.
The main thing is just really giving people that sense of inclusion, that sense of belonging, that sense that they can contribute their, bring all the whole assets, knowledge, skills, and experience they have.
The Institute projects that within 5 years, more than 20,000 immigrants will leave. Mishra will be among them.
In Canada, I'll probably never achieve my potential. But in a place like America, I always have a chance.
As Canada tries to diversify its economy in the middle of a trade war, immigration experts say the federal government's decision to cap immigration levels will further reduce the talent pool necessary to grow the economy. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canada Post says it expects to lose up to 30,000 employees to retirement or voluntary departure over the next 10 years. Its CEO says the Crown Corporation will use attrition first to downsize from the roughly 62,000 employees it had at the end of last year. Canada Post has struggled recently as labor disputes and declines in letter mail have strained the business. The company's CFO said in an annual meeting today, the Crown Corporation is effectively insolvent. Losses in the first 9 months of this year alone topped $1 billion. Canada Post has had to rely on loans from Ottawa to stay afloat. Despite that, the Crown Corporation has offered a compound wage increase of 13.5% over 4 years. The Union for the Striking Workers has rejected the proposal. Canadian air travelers could be on course for more disruptions over the holiday season as hundreds of air transit pilots stood on informational picket lines in Montreal and Toronto over the status of contract talks. The pilots have escalated their campaign, saying they want industry standard pay, better working conditions, and an improved quality of life. Their 10-year deal expires tonight with strike voting running until December 2nd. A strike or lockout could take place by December the 10th. Well, the number of popular websites, including X and ChatGPT, were down for a while this morning. It was all due to a technical issue with the infrastructure platform Cloudflare. The internet service says the significant outage occurred after a file didn't work as intended and triggered a crash. Thousands of websites were impacted. The company has apologized for the disruption, saying sorry to customers for letting them down. In Washington, the House of Representatives has voted overwhelmingly in favor of a bill to force the Justice Department to release its files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
And I want every woman to know, every Epstein survivor to know, every woman across the country who is a survivor, who is a victim of assault, that today we see you.
The bill passed 427 to 1. The only no vote was from Representative Clay Higgins, a Louisiana Republican. Moments after the vote, Senate Majority Leader John Thune said his chamber will act swiftly on the legislation. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he will sign the bill into law after initially urging his supporters to dismiss the matter as a hoax. Epstein was accused of sexually abusing and trafficking underage girls. Emails and other documents from the late financiers the stage show his connections to global leaders, Wall Street power brokers, and influential political figures, including Trump. All right, stay tuned. Noah will be right back after the break with weather.